Yo, 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 what's up? This is Julius Freeman. Welcome to a chill stream of Talking Comics. Please welcome, say hello, Mr. Anthony Gambino.
Hello there. What's up, everybody?
Happy Friday. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday night, and I hope you have a pleasant weekend upcoming. It's hot over here where I'm at in California.
Word.
How is it over there in Jersey, in your thick of the woods?
It's been like 65 degrees for the last few days, and then today all of a sudden it was almost 90 and humid. And it's gonna be like that for the next couple days too. So
yeah,
my beard's gonna freeze.
We had a little schizophrenic weather pattern this past week on, I think it was Thursday or no, Wednesday. We had a nice little tropical storm over here. You know, where it was humid and hot, but raining, raining and gloomy.
Yeah, so that was what, like one of the 6 days a year that you get rain?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, just one day. It just happened it was a freak little thing. It only happened in portions too. So where I work at my day job, it was like pouring. There was lightning, thunder, and my wife texted me asking me if it was okay for her to go out with some friends hiking, and I was like, but it's raining. And she was like, it's not raining over here. It's like bright sunny over here. I was like, well, it's raining over here. Man, it's like the clouds are all. And she's like, oh, so that was thunder I heard earlier. I was like, yeah, that was thunder. She's like, oh, I thought they were like fireworks. Like someone was throwing fireworks nearby. So it was weird. It was a little weird. I was like, huh, interesting.
How far away is your job from your house?
Not far, actually. It's about maybe, I want to say, I know in California we do minutes. We don't do miles. So I want to say it's like 10 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, dog. We don't do. You think I know how many miles away it is? Please.
Minutes okay. Well, I wasn't sure because you had the SNL skit.
No.
Have you seen that SNL skit where the Californians just talk about, like, instead of mileage, you talk about minutes? Oh, it takes me about 30 minutes to get there.
No, like, we do that here too. I didn't know that was a California thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, even better. So even better. Even better to know.
It's these stupid coast brains.
I think so. Yeah, it's about 10 to 15 minutes depending on traffic. That's how far it was. So it was just weird. It was just a weird, like, I was tripping out. I was like, wow, this is interesting. But it was still hot. It wasn't cold. So it felt like
now, do you guys like does California sell umbrellas, or do you just like grab a plate or something and walk around?
No, we have umbrellas. Believe it or not, we do have rainy seasons, but not often do we have rainy seasons in California.
Yeah. It's like cicadas here. It's like once every 7 years.
It's a what? Cicada, you said?
It's like cicadas in Jersey. It's like once every 7 years. You know what a cicada is?
There you go. I don't know.
They're like I don't even know how to describe them. They look like kind of like roaches with wings, and they make a crazy like screeching sounds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No. We have June bugs. We have June bugs here. I don't know if that's the same thing.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds real southern.
Yeah, June bugs is they're like these hard-shelled bugs. They're not that big, but they're very annoying, and they kind of just crash into everything. So it's more of a annoyance than anything. So do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, there's these little red, like kind of like red bugs. Like I said, hard-shelled. They can only come out. The reason why they call June bugs because they only come out in June.
Okay.
And they're kind of like these like kind of like juggernaut bugs, I call them, because they just, like I said, just fly into walls. They don't know where they're going, and they just buzz around, and it's very annoying to get them out of the house. But that's just, we don't have those like you said, flying cockroaches. That sounds terrifying.
Okay. To be fair, they're not like, they don't look exactly like roaches, but they're just a big insect with wings, and they make a crazy sound. It's actually kind of calming. It's almost like there's so many of them that it almost becomes like white noise.
Interesting. Like oh wow.
When I was a kid, it used to be hard to sleep, but now it's like it's kind of
nice.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's almost like crickets at night. You just get used to it. The sound.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Because over here we have a lot of crickets.
It only happens every 7 years, so by the time you get used to it, they're gone.
Interesting. Only 7 years they come out, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's exact. Maybe it's like 5,
Fascinating.
6, 8. Sometimes I don't know, but I think it's supposed to be every 7 years.
Vengeance Productions is asking for you, Mr. Gambino.
Oh, hello. How are you, sir? We need to have a chat. Me. Uh-oh.
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 Uh-oh. He
About
did
what?
tweet out
Usually,
earlier today that
are you breaking up with me? What's going on?
I think he's upset. I'm not sure. I can't speak for Vengeance. He can only speak for himself. But based on the tweet, maybe he wants you to follow him on Twitter. I think,
I thought I did.
but I'm
I
not
can't keep
sure.
up with Twitter. Just DM me or something.
Yeah,
Also,
Vengeance.
I'm the Gambino. I'm supposed to be saying we need to have a chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Take it easy,
Chris.
Vengeance.
So, how was your Friday, buddy?
It was hectic. We
Hectic.
yeah, we started fostering a dog. So we went to go
Oh,
get her this morning. Um she's really
wait, you
pretty.
fostering
She's
the dog,
a
meaning you went to the pound and got a dog?
Yeah, well there's a shelter where it's like a shelter slash daycare, so people will bring
Oh,
their dogs there like for the day or something, or leave them there for a little while if they go on vacation. But it's also a shelter where they take in dogs, I think cats too, while like they're waiting to get adopted. So
oh,
they look for foster parents too to help them out because there's only so much space and they can't always keep all the animals. Um, so
yeah, that's
we're
really
kind of
cool.
housing, yeah, we're housing this dog, in hopes that someone will adopt her, within the next couple months. Um, if we end up falling in love with her, then maybe we'll adopt her. We'll kind of be like first on the list. But yeah,
That's very cool.
she's a beautiful dog. She's a pit bull, black lab, and a mountain cur mix. She's really cool.
Whoa. Yeah,
Um,
that is cool.
she's the same age as our dog now, which we thought would be great. But so she's 2, but she's had like no training at all. The woman who had her
Oof.
before is like a sweetheart and takes in a lot of dogs, but she just lets them go. So
Oh gosh.
it's we're having little issues with the 2 dogs. So we've been training her a lot today, back and forth.
I see. I
Yeah,
see. That explains
yeah.
that. All
But
right.
yeah, I mean, she's sweet with us, you know. And she's fine with our dog. It's weird. It's only when they're nose to nose.
Hmm.
Yeah, like if they're on the side of each other or they're just walking past or sniffing, like they're fine. But when they go nose to nose, the foster dog is like, nah,
Interesting.
kind of lunges. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but
Might be a
she's fine.
territorial thing,
That's
but
what I
then
think.
again, I'm not a dog whisperer, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine with us nose to nose though, which is good.
Hmm.
Yeah, like she's very sweet. She's very loving. She's picking up on the training really quickly.
Oh, that's
So I
good.
think, yeah, I think, at least a few weeks, maybe a month or 2 of like really strict training. Um, and it's a little bit easier because I work from home and my wife is a teacher, so she's home now.
Oh,
So
okay, she's home for the summer.
hopefully,
That's cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it
How are
looks
you?
like Vengeance Productions. You do follow him. I guess he just didn't look hard enough. So the reason why we're doing the stream, the chill stream, is because we wanted to hang out with you guys and kind of explore what you guys are thinking in terms of our campaign, the story, and the book. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you think about the campaign. We want to hear what you think about our offerings of the perks and
Mhm.
the story. Does the story entice you? Is it interesting? Is it something that you look forward to? The more we know, the better we can become down the line as artists. That's the only way. And so don't be shy to share your thoughts. Don't be
Yeah,
shy to leave chat in the room there and share your thoughts. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So
yeah. Any way to make
uh,
this thing better and more
yeah,
enticing to backers.
exactly. And speaking of that, you tweeted out a poll which I thought was a great idea. And I'm sorry, I didn't even think of it myself, but I thought it was a great poll.
Right?
Um, I'm gonna pull it up here before I share the screen. Just give me a second here. Let's see here. So yeah, what I have to ask you, Anthony, what prompted you to put this poll out? You just one day you just woke up and you're like, hey, you know what? I need to conduct a poll so that way I know what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, this campaign has pretty much been the only thing on my mind for the last week. So
yeah, same here. Same here.
No, you know, we started all right. It's been a day or two of a little bit of inactivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been comparing it to my last campaign, to the 2020 sketchbook, to see like what the differences were. And the one thing I noticed that I see on a lot, like pretty much every other campaign, is backer bonuses. So we won't offer any backer bonuses, but Julius, you and I spoke in the very beginning that our thinking was like, you know, we're both pretty new and we don't really have that big of a following, and we're trying to get our names out there. So we wanted to focus mainly on the story and the art and getting a really nice product for people so that they'll come back for more.
Yes.
But I was wondering if, like, does notoriety matter to the backers? Like, do they still want goodies? Do they want backer bonuses? Does it matter? Because, like, you know, me personally as a backer of campaigns also, like, I just want a good story and a good book. You know,
right.
Certain backer bonuses are cool, but for the most part, like, my main concern is the story in the book. Like, unless it's something really cool and really different, like Rob recently did the cloth map for Blood Realm, like that's fucking badass. You don't see that very often, so that's something different.
Whoa.
But
No, you're right. You're right. Oh, come on.
but yeah,
on.
you know, I want to hear from the people, and if they can see that, I don't think they can.
Oh my god, this computer's driving me nuts.
You're making it Junebug size right now.
There we go. All right. Well, I guess it's the best I can do. It's just I forgot to grab my mouse, and I'm using the laptop's very sensitive I guess this little
The
mouse
trackpad.
pad. Yeah, and it's just driving me nuts. I wanted to zoom in so that way the viewers can see what the question was. So I'll just read it out. It says, I need your help. I'm learning more about crowdfunding. I was hoping I could get some input. How important are backer bonuses to you when deciding whether or not to back a campaign? And Kayla Adrian at Comics and Cleve respond to you. It says if it adds to the story, which is interesting. So what does she mean by that exactly? If it adds to the story?
I think she means, well, we should probably ask her. I should probably ask her. But I think she means like if the backer bonus will give more story pages or more information maybe that has to do with the story. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're kind of offering that with the deluxe edition, but that's a stretch goal. It's not necessarily a backer bonus.
Right, exactly. Interesting.
So yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, because you're right. You prove a good point. You know, you and I are relatively new.
Yeah.
And we don't have a ton of books underneath our belt. You know, we have experience. You have experience. I have experience writing. You have experience drawing. It's just a matter of gaining the trust of the readers. Do readers trust Julius Freeman and Anthony Gambino to deliver a good book, a good product? And of course, that all depends on how we deliver the book and how people respond to the story and the artwork when they get their hands on it.
Sure.
So for me, it's a matter of does the story hook me? Is it interesting to me? Is the artwork good? Is the story promising? Because a lot of the complaints that I've been seeing online, well, specifically Twitter, is I've noticed a lot of people praising the art, a lot of people praising the perks, and it's great, but no one ever talks about the story. How is the story of these books that are raising thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy and proud to see the success of all these, campaigns that have come out before us. But never have I seen yet oh my god, the story is absolutely like great, it's perfect. It's just about the art. It's just about the,
Interesting.
I guess, the cult of personality behind it is what
Interesting.
the primary focus that I've observed is more focused on when it comes to these large campaign success stories.
Right.
And because I'm sure when you collect the comics, I collect the comics. We would read Wizard magazine or the other zines that came out. It at first they would focus on the art, but it was always ended up being about the story, right?
Yeah.
Everyone talked about their favorite moments in this book, their favorite moments of that book, and that's because it was written by somebody who came up with it, and it was drawn by an artist who was capable of drawing what the writer wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that's what's lacking in our current indie, I guess, industry, is if you want to call it crowdfunding industry, because even though there are a lot of successful campaigns like book 2, book 3s of other properties, I have yet to see the building of, not the building, but the praise for the writing.
Right.
And that's what kind of concerns me, to be honest with you. It's like, oh crap.
Well, I think maybe something that contributes to that is like a lot of these successful crowdfunding books, I think a lot of them have the same writer artist. So maybe like people aren't commenting on the story, but they're more commenting on the person, and they're kind of complimenting both things without saying it because it's coming from the same source. But there definitely are stories that have separate writers and artists that do very, very well.
Yeah. I think, and now in this day and age, with the age of streaming, the crowdfunding platform is almost like it's like a curse and a gift at the same time. A blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
That's the right term. And the curse is that the normally introverted writers have to show their face in camera now to sell their book. Where back in the day, the publisher would do that. That would be the publisher's job.
Yeah.
You write the script, they pay you for the script, and that's all you do. And then the publishers are the ones who call the comic book stores, they do the interview, they make sure that you get the phone interviews, whatever. But now live streaming is like the thing. That's what we're doing here now, right? We're showing our faces, we're talking about the culture, essentially, what we're doing in our project. And so I think, I think perhaps now that I think about it, as we're talking about it, I think part of it is cult of personality that does help sell the campaign and the books, perhaps.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's true. I mean, a lot of the personalities that sell are people who've been around for a while, and they come from a mainstream background, and they kind of transitioned over to this new lifestyle. And that's great. That's awesome. Like that they were able to find that. But yeah, it's like you said, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's definitely this opportunity for people like you and me to kind of come up and build a career. It's just it's a lot of groundwork.
It is a lot of groundwork, and I'm ready for it. I know you're ready for it. Man. Yeah, that's why we're here, and that's what we're all about, guys. We want to get to that level too. Don't get it twisted here. Like, we love making comics, but we're in this to also earn the living, and the only way we could do it is if you guys support us. And that's why it's important to do these live streams. And I recognize that, and I do recognize the importance of maintaining that as the days progress. It was a bumpy first week for us, but it's exciting at the same time, because we're getting the support, and we really do believe in the story. We believe in the product. Like, if we didn't believe in the product, I don't think we'd be here at the moment. I think we kind of would be like, struggling, I would imagine, and the great thing about working with someone like yourself, Anthony, is that you are not afraid to share your thoughts with me, which is important in a collaboration. An artist should be able to tell a writer, hey, this isn't working. We should probably work on this a little bit more, and vice versa. Hey, this panel isn't working, or the sequence isn't working out. Can we, like, move it around, edit, whatever.
For sure.
And that's important because it show. And by the end of it, if you're both have the love for it, of getting a great product to you guys, the readers, the backers, because that's what it's all about too. We want to make sure we give you guys a bang for your buck. We want to make sure that you're the $15 or the money that you give to this campaign, you're going to get the best book possible. And that's what's important for us is to do that. So I like the fact that you're a go-getter and you conducted this poll, and let us know, guys. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. Let us
Yeah,
know
don't be
what you
shy
guys
at all.
think.
And
Yeah.
listen to people listening and watching. Julius and I are both Leos. We got thick skin.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Exactly.
Like, tell us what you think, honestly.
Yeah.
Lay it all online, please, because we want to know. We want to make this as great of a project as we can.
Absolutely.
We really believe in it. We both actually around the same time, without talking to each other, started waking up at 5 a.m. just to work on this stuff separately on our own time before we start our day jobs and our family lives and everything. We wouldn't be doing. Listen, I'm a night owl, so I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in it. I know Julius feels the same way.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we're absolutely loving it. So, but we need you guys and we need your help. And yeah, I mean, we couldn't do this without you. And I think the more, at least, I mean, Julius, chime in, but I'm speaking for myself now. The more like I work on this and the more I progress in my career, I've always been, initially drawing and illustrating as a profession, it started out very, very selfish. Like I do it because I really love it and it makes me happy and I feel like I have a purpose doing it. But I've always heard and I've always believed that, if it's my responsibility that, I worked really hard, but I was giving some semblance of a talent and
Exactly.
and the passion, whether you believe it comes from God or the universe, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's important to recognize that not everybody has it in their lives, and it's really special.
Right.
So now, the more I work and the more I progress, it feels like I'm doing it for me, but now like I want to do it for somebody else. Like I want to bring somebody else joy, and I want to show why I do this, and hopefully that people see it and it makes them a little bit happier too.
Yeah.
Because then it'll be giving back the way that something was given to me.
Exactly.
And I didn't realize that until a few years ago, when my wife and I moved into our very first apartment for the first time, moved in together. I was like the first of my friends to get my own place, kind of thing, and I was all excited. And I was in grad school, and we had them over, and like it was a really small place, and my family room was basically like my studio. Like Sam and I would like hang out. Yeah, we basically hung out in a couch in the middle of my studio. Like that was the family room. So I was showing my friends like the stuff I was working on and the short story I was working on for school and everything. And I was all excited because I loved it. And my buddy goes, "Man, you're lucky." And I was kind of like, "Motherfucker, like I work really hard. Like I work full time. I'm going to school full time." He goes, No. Like I know that, but that's not what I mean. He goes, "You're lucky you love something this much."
Right.
It's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, I can't think of anything I love this much. I don't give a shit." I was like, whoa. And that's when it really clicked. Like, if I'm going to do this, that there's got to be like a bigger purpose. Like, it's not just for me. Because that's crazy that not everybody feels that about something or finds something like that. Like, that's wild. So, ever since that, I've been like, all right, like, I'm working hard, but now it's really nose to the ground and go, like, really push for this.
Well said. Well said. You're absolutely right. You hit you struck a nerve, not a nerve, but you hit a chord there. And I was the same way. It's funny. My wife kind of had this. We had the same conversation, a similar conversation, not exactly like that, but she one day told me when she was reading some of my because what I do is I always gauge her, and based on her reaction, that's when I know, okay, it sucks, so I need to work on it a little bit more, or okay, this is good, it's working. So whenever she tells me, oh, it's pretty good, then I go, it sucks, I know it sucks.
Not
But
good enough.
when I see her like, wow, this is like, then I know, okay, it's good, like it could work, or it's gonna work. But one day she did read when I wrote this whole story, Vigilant Fury, when I did the whole summary of what the story was going to be in a rough little one-page summary. She read it, and by the end of it, she was like, "Damn, this looks hard." I was like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, this looks really hard. Like,
For
to
me,
sit down and think about like the character, the name of the character, like their background, and like."
there you go.
And she's like, you figure all that out?" I was like, "Yeah, it takes me a while, but I figured that out." She's like, that sounds hard." I was like, "Well, it's easy for me now because I've been doing it for so long that it comes naturally. Of course, after a few edits, after a few not edits, what do you call it, drafts. After a few drafts, then it starts coming together, And so you're right, and the reason for that is because I love it. I love stories. I love consuming stories, and I also want to produce stories so that people can consume them, so we keep this thing going. That's the reason why you and I are here, the reason why everyone in the chat is watching, the reason why people back the campaigns, the reason why people go to the comic book shops is because we all love story.
Right.
We all want to read and consume a good story.
Exactly.
Hey, Joe Ball. Hey, Joe Ball. What's up, dude?
Whoa, what's up, man?
Joe Ball, man.
On your campaign, homie.
Yeah, dude. Joe Ball, death, man.
Killing it.
Killing it, dude.
Talk about talent.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy has been like, I remember when he first started dropping pages, like little pages of his, before he launched the campaign. And I was like, dude, this guy is gonna freaking kill it, man, when he launches. And sure enough, like, there he is. We're almost in the 100K, right? Joe Ball?
I think he's close. And I just found his stuff maybe a couple weeks ago. It might have been something from something you shared, maybe, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely share his work because it's like freaking.
Yeah, man. I mean, I saw it and I got nauseous because of all the detail. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the insane detail is just it's so crazy. It's so nuts. But have you reached 100K? No, you're 50K, right?
That's 50K. Not bad. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all, dude. Oh my God, man. Congratulations, by the way. That's fantastic.
Brother. Good for you, man. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going, man. He made it. He made it. You made it.
Yeah.
But another guy, let's see, we're getting there. I feel good about 100K. I think you'll get there, man. I honestly think you would. You will.
How much time you have left, Joe?
I think he has like about. I think if I saw.
Not like
for the I'm not complaining. Yeah, no. I wouldn't be complaining either. I think he has about a few weeks left. I think he has 2 weeks left or something like that.
Oh yeah, you're golden.
I think so. I think that's golden. What's left. But to continue on with this poll, Aaron L at gold_bug says, it's important to me if the bonuses go into making the books better. Mm-hmm. More pages, better quality paper, soft cover to hardcover. Trinkets are okay, but honestly, the book and SIG are what are important to me. I back so many books that I can't keep track of the goodies. So there's that. That was a good answer. That was actually a very good answer.
I think I don't want to speak for Kayla, but maybe that's kind of along the same lines as what Kayla.
That's what she. Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured. Yeah. Okay. So he says, as much as I want, but I'm shooting to close by October. So you'll definitely get to that 100 by October, of course, dude.
Sure.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on that book. That book looks freaking.
Yeah, it looks gnarly.
Yeah, it does, man. It does. And again, indie comics is where it's at. Indie comics is where the talent gets to shine a little bit, and that's why, again, why we're here. We're here to shine our light amongst this sea of other, the sea of light, right? And continue this trend going. But this is one of those things, guys, that we are doing this because we're passionate about it, and we want to give you guys the best possible quality. And thank you to Kayla at Comics Cleve and Aaron for responding to his tweet, because that is important. And then again, I didn't even remember to think of that, but that's part of the I guess, like, part of the curse, I guess, of this new crowdfunding platform, is that it's hard going from, like, for instance, myself and yourself, right? So I'm writer, you're the artist, to switch hats in the midst of all this, right? Going from writer to promoter or marketer, marketing, campaign person. And it's new for me because I'm not accustomed to that. I'm accustomed to just
Right.
creating and just creating and creating. I'm sure it's the same way for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have you found, comparing the two campaigns that were currently, like your previous one and the one you're on now, is that one of the obstacles that you've come across when you did your first campaign, for instance? Was it hard for you to switch the hats from artist to promoter and marketer?
Yeah, for sure. Especially like I'm every time I do a show, like I get a little bit more and more comfortable. But like the very first thing I did, I think even before I went on Rob's show, was I sat down and I just kind of like this, like I put the phone on a tripod and I recorded myself talking and I put it on Instagram, like just to introduce the project and let people know that it was coming. And at that point, like it wasn't like anybody from this indie community was following me. It was literally
Mm.
just to my friends and family, like whoever my followers were on Instagram.
Ah,
And
okay.
just to record that video, it took me, it was maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes or something, but it took me like 3 hours because I was so uncomfortable just sitting there with
Right.
the phone in front of me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it was so weird and I felt so awkward. And I was like, what if my neighbors hear me? Like, like,
Right.
ah, it was so weird. But yeah, so that was an obstacle. And then like, I mean, I was really lucky because my first campaign, Rob was like literally holding my hand along the way. Like
Oh, that's cool. That's
I
cool.
talked to him all the time. He offered really great advice and he helped me out a lot with that stuff. Plus, not to mention, getting me on his show, and I was on there almost every week. That was a huge help too. But
Nice.
what that also led to was getting on other people's shows and talking to them more. Um, and just finding like different avenues of promotion, like going on the shows and using Twitter. I wasn't using Twitter because I hated it. I still kind
Right.
of do, but it's very
Yeah.
useful and
Yeah.
very necessary. Um,
A double-edged sword
and
for sure.
yeah,
Because Twitter can be a great tool. It can be a great asset to indie creators like ourselves.
for sure. And
The
that's how we
the
got
problem with any kind of social media is that it's this illusion, right? This illusion of the more followers I get, the better. But in reality, it's like that doesn't necessarily equate
no.
quality followers. Meaning,
That's all dopamine effect and
exactly,
all that
exactly.
quick release shit that
It's the
doesn't
false
really
sense of like popularity when in reality
yeah.
it's not really true. It's just other people wanting to feel a part of something, which is
Yeah.
understandable. That's human nature.
Like I
But
would rather do this. Like it's great to get on shows to promote and stuff, but like
yeah,
I love just hanging out with people and meeting the new people.
yeah,
And that's something that I kind of broken the mold of over the last year or so when I started doing these shows and everything. Like, it's cool to just meet people who are into this. I had it when I was in grad school and we were so tight. Like we were like a little family. We even
mm.
had a trip to LA for part of the program,
Oh,
and we
nice.
all rented a house together. Like we were the first class to do that. We all lived together for a week, whatever it was. Like it was so much fun, and we love each other. And then like COVID happened, and we didn't see too many people, and it's nice to regain that community, even if it
Yeah,
is virtually. But it's cool, and it's like you said, like this industry is a blessing and a curse, but this part is definitely a blessing.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because you're right. 10 years ago, you and I would have just been communicating through email, and that's it.
If we
If
if
we
we
got
were
together,
even
right?
able to connect 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
no way, because you were like we're the other side of the country. So it's like
I mean,
we,
even with email, like what Rob would have sent me an email from you, like I don't know if it would have been as immediate. Like you were
right?
able
No,
to
I
see like
wouldn't have
pictures
been.
like that, but why didn't we
Yeah,
email you?
exactly. So it's like I said, a blessing and a curse. Like we're talking about that, and I've learned to approach it as a tool. Twitter
Yeah.
and social media is a tool.
Hmm.
So once you get yourselves out of that mentality of like I'm on here to gain as many followers as possible, I want that blue check mark, that kind of
Oh God,
nonsense.
no.
If you just ignore all that and just realize, you know what, I'm on here to promote my stuff, and the people follow me, I want quality followers, meaning people who like you, who like
Yeah.
your thoughts, because tweets are a nice little small window to your mind, to your thinking process, because I kind of
Yeah,
see it
sure.
like a sonar, right? You send out sonars, and then
Yeah,
whoever, hey, I like that tweet, I like that guy's, that person's outlook, and then you stop following them because you
right,
like what they're putting out into the world,
right,
and you want that, you want those quality followers, because then when you do present something, more than likely they're going to support you because they've liked what you've been talking about so far.
for sure.
And so
And
it all depends on who you are and how you approach it too. Because I know there's some people who are rough around the edges
yeah,
on Twitter, but I don't mind that because my stepdad growing up
I don't
was
mind it either, man.
rough around the edges, so I'm
Yeah,
I'm
good.
accustomed to that behavior,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and that's why I don't really scoff at like outspoken individuals, because my stepdad
Right.
was a very outspoken individual when he was alive. God rest his soul.
Good. Oh, yeah.
He was just like I can tell you stories and stories about him, but he was your typical what do you call it? Like he was born he must have been born in the wrong place,
How so?
because
Like wrong time period?
no, not wrong time period. Wrong place meaning like
Geographically?
yeah, yeah.
Why?
It's so funny because I've met like beer drinking Southern guys, Southern men, right? And I'm like, dude, you remind me of my stepdad. Like, holy crap! And my stepdad was born and raised in California. Like he
Oh,
didn't,
okay.
he never left California, like
Interesting.
not once. So it was interesting how did he get this gruff like American tough American attitude? But I realized it's because he was born here. He was the
Right.
first generation born here in 1950 from
Cool.
a mother and father I'm sorry, he was second generation. So his parents were first generation American
Okay.
Latinos. And
Okay.
so I was like, that makes sense, because he
Yeah,
embraced
they
that culture, the American culture, which is what happens when you're born here. You just
right.
embrace it because you're exposed to the television shows and what have you.
Sure.
But yeah, it was just very interesting. But going back to the point of using Twitter as a tool, once you know how to utilize it properly, it can be extremely effective
Yeah, man.
for your projects
I mean, listen, what are tools used for?
to build.
That's it. And that's what we're
Yeah,
trying to do is build.
exactly to
That's it.
build.
I'm glad you got that. We're
Yeah,
here.
you see, exactly. We're connected. Avengers Productions. You're talking about me, and you're right. There you go. Let it work
Yeah,
for
let
you.
it work for you. That's right. That's right.
Joe Ball then says, "What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?" You got 26 days. Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely,
There you go.
absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm
And
not too worried about it. I'm 26 days of just promoting, and tomorrow I'm going to
probably,
be on the show, Ben Soto's
yep.
show tomorrow, so I'm going to be on that.
Oh, I didn't
Check
even
me
tell
out
you.
there.
I got on Dojo Kun I don't know how
Oh,
to
Dojo
pronounce
Ku,
it.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I know him.
for July 20th.
Nice, nice.
July
All right,
20th. Yeah.
sweet. Yeah. So see, there you go. We just gotta keep pushing and get
Yep.
these to as many eyes as possible. And guys, the ones who are listening to now and who are going to listen to this afterwards, if you've backed the campaign or you like the campaign, hey, help spread the word. Just share it. Get as many eyes on this as possible.
Yeah,
Because
for
this
sure.
book is gonna be like badass, like straight up. Like Anthony can vouch for me. He's read the script. We have a very solid story to present you here. It's very hopeful. It's full of action. It's very human, and that's the kind of
Hmm.
stories I like. I
Hmm.
I, I like stories that are a little grounded, even if it's a superhero comic. I still like my stuff a little grounded, and I think those are the best comic book stories for me anyway.
Sure.
And this story, Vigilant Fury, is just a story about a woman surviving the worst case scenario that any woman would face in
Yeah.
in life. And it's about the human spirit just persevering and fighting back, which is what it's all about, right? That's what a good story, a David and Goliath story of sorts,
Yeah,
if you
it
want to
really
break it
is.
down like
It
that.
really is. It's
Yeah.
well, this one it's more like David and Goliath's.
Yeah, there you go. Or maybe what would be the equivalent of David for a female name? I wouldn't even know. Is there such a thing? Dane?
Diane? Diana?
Diane? Yeah, Diane. Yeah. Diane's a
I don't
good a
know.
good equivalent. Yeah, Diane versus Goliath. I guess you could say it that way. And no, it's not a Mary Sue story. So don't worry about that.
I don't
It's
know what
not.
that means.
The Mary Sue trope. You ever heard of the Mary Sue trope?
No. Is
The
that like
Mary
the
Sue
distress
the,
type of thing?
the Mary Sue trope is where a character is 100% perfect
Oh, okay.
and doesn't like
Boring.
doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
They know how to do everything.
Yeah.
There is no flaws, and of
Yep,
course
yep.
that's the major problem that we're facing today in the mainstream stuff, which is they're making these characters Mary Sue's, which is, I guess it can work depending on the writer, but most readers and most audiences prefer um, a flawed character because we're all flawed
Yeah, of course.
to
I
an
mean, I have
extent,
to read.
right?
This is the number one thing. The first thing I learned in I don't remember what class it was. I think it was
Sorry, ID crisis.
uh
Sorry.
I think it was a creating character class, and
Okay,
our
nice, nice.
professor said, like, when creating characters, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, who gives a shit?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
It's a
which is really
great,
great way to start thinking about a character.
yeah,
Like when you're creating their background and their struggles and everything, if you don't care, or if you don't think someone's gonna care about it, like why should the audience care about this?
right, yeah,
So the Mary Sue trope could work if you're leading up to something where they switch right away, and now all of a
yeah,
sudden it's flawed, that's unexpected from this perfect person.
right, exactly. Yeah, when I took the screenwriting class, my instructor did say that a character has to, if you want to have your character have a special ability, right, but you
Mm-hmm.
want to hold it, you don't want to reveal it right away. You have to give clues, so that way when they start doing these special abilities, then it makes sense to the audience,
Right.
and they won't roll their eyes and be like, "What? How was this character able to do this?" And then
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Sort
it
of.
kind of falls in the same line at that. But yeah, that's it. That is important. Empathy uh, towards your main protagonist is definitely important. If you don't have that, then you don't have a story.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough. Like, I would imagine Superman, as he progressed throughout the years, ever since his creation by Shuster and Siegel, he's evolved to the point where now people don't really say, they all say they can't identify with this character, but in reality, it's like, no, you can identify with Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the part you can identify with is that he loves his friends. He
Yep.
loves his family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he is a selfless, sacrificial person who's willing to give up his own life to protect his loved ones, which is what most men would do to protect their loved ones. So you could definitely still write Superman in this day and age.
For sure.
Hint, hint, DC, hint, hint.
Yeah. For sure.
Because that's one of my dreams is writing Superman if I ever get an opportunity.
Oh, that's cool.
To do it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So Vigilant Fury. We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. She's not Superman, but she is a hero, and that was important. Is that she's a hero not by, like I must do something greater than me. It's more of a out of necessity. She's a hero out of necessity of the situation she's in, and she's willing to risk her life to protect the other victims that are in this story that you see in this page down here. Let me just scroll down here real quick. These characters that you see here in this page 8 here of this preview, they play a role in the story, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They play a role. It's not a big role. It's not a major role, but it's an important one. It's an important one that plays a factor in the plot and her character development. And
debated.
What was that? What'd you say?
That could be debated.
That could be debated.
It's not an important role.
Oh, is that a lightsaber in her hand? No, ID crisis.
No.
Come on.
No.
It's a flashlight.
Yeah.
A flashlight, ID crisis.
Would have been pretty cool if she had a lightsaber, though.
That'd be kind of cool if we could use this lightsaber, as in the book. But
I mentioned that I'm going to be inking on this video, and it's been 45 minutes, and I haven't done anything.
It's all good. I'm
gonna tilt the camera down so that people can watch.
Awesome.
Plus, I've been staring at this ring light for too long, and I see spots. So, can you see the page?
I could see it. You may want to lift the page a little bit, unless you need the space. There we go.
What if I do this? Hold on. Yeah. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine. What do you guys think, chat? Can you guys see that page okay?
Okay. Cool.
Let me make the solo. I'll probably have to do a solo,
I'm
man.
gonna wait for my eyes to adjust before I start inking because I'll miss.
Vengeance Production says laser saber.
Laser saber. Oh man, I wish I remembered. My niece was calling it the funniest thing a couple weeks ago.
What was she calling it?
I don't remember. It was like an electrinator, I think.
Electrinator, like the
yeah. She's 3 years
lightsaber?
old. Yeah, she had like
awesome.
She had a blow up lightsaber, and she was like, "I want to play with the electrinator," and I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
that's cute. That's adorable.
And my sister was like, "The lightsaber." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you teaching my niece?" Like, I want to play with the electrinator. Like, okay. Well,
the electrinator? What is that?
I think that's what she called it.
With you guys that I saw earlier.
That's what she called it
now.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead. What'd you say, Anthony? I talked over you.
Oh, I don't know. I think that was it.
Okay. I want to share this with you guys because I thought it was pretty freaking cool. Let me just share it here real quick. And I want to know, you guys, the guys watching the chat, I want to know your thoughts on this because I'm a big Japanese media person too. I love manga. I love anime. And I also do love the live action Japanese films from time to time. Not all the time, because some of it's kind of, hokey. I'm more of a Hong Kong cinema guy, but Japan does produce some gems from time to time. And I thought when I saw this today, I thought this was definitely a gem. And I want your thoughts on this. So I'm gonna share the screen now, and please let me know what you think. This is pretty cool. Let me know if you can hear it. It's only a minute long. That trailer for the first 2 minutes is nothing for me. Yeah, it was kind of a letdown, wasn't it? Ultraman! SFX graphics. Are you a big Ultraman guy? You like Anthony? Oh, let me lower this.
No, not at all.
You never heard of it, or just never interested you? Look at that.
Not at all. I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Oh, okay. What did you what were your inspirations actually growing up? When that kind of, what prompted you to want to be a comic book artist? I'm curious exactly what was it that moved you at that direction? Did you hear me or no?
Well, if I'm being honest, I didn't have any real idea about. I was like 20 when I was in college. It was one of those things where like it wasn't ever presented to me, so I didn't really know about it, type of thing. But I grew up watching like Batman the Animated Series and X-Men and Spider-Man, all those great 90s cartoons.
Oh yeah, dude, those were classics, man.
I loved Dragon Ball Z, like all that when I was a kid, because that was prime time for me.
Yeah, same here.
But I started drawing when I was like 3 or 4 because my dad showed me his high school sketchbook from one of his drawing classes, and it was really good. Like it was like he's a great draftsman. Like he had assignments where like you had to draw the other half of a face, or you had to draw a horse. Like it wasn't anything like this, like comics, but it was more technical stuff. Like typical high school stuff that they would assign you to do.
Yeah. The basic stuff, right? Like the basic. I don't want to say basic, but like I guess the like school I guess school homework or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't even know how.
the typical stuff that they would have you do in like a regular high school non-specialized art class.
I see. I see.
Um, and I thought that was dope, so I started drawing, and I just would pick up like Batman books, like those children's books, or like Pokemon cards. I would just draw whatever I saw on that. Um,
Oh,
and
interesting.
I kind of started out just copying stuff and then drawing portraits. And it's funny, like my dad was always saying, because I love drawing portraits, but my dad was always like, we should try drawing the whole body. And I was like, nah, that's boring. Like as a kid, what? I didn't know any
All
better.
right.
And now looking back, I was like, holy shit! Can you imagine if I took his advice? Like I would have. This would have been
Oh,
so
you
much
would have
easier
been
now.
a master at this point if you had done that.
Yeah, forget it, forget it. But yeah, it was just one of those things where like I don't really, it wasn't exposed to me. I went to a small Catholic school, and like nobody there read comics or anything.
I see.
And my parents were very much of the mentality like you're gonna get a job, like it's got to be a corporate job, that type of thing.
Mm.
So the whole
So very
freelance
practical.
lifestyle
They
wasn't
want you.
really,
They
it's still
want you
kind
to
of
be
foreign to
a.
them.
Okay, they want you to be practical about your.
Extremely practical,
I
extremely.
see. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's good. That's good. Your
Extremely.
parents would look
My
out for
dad,
you and make sure.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
because that is
of
important.
course. My dad's an immigrant, so like he came to this country for a better life, and like
Right.
to him, you know, going to school, getting a job, like all that stuff was the American dream, and that's the best thing you can do. And a lot of
Yeah.
times it is. It's great, and it definitely has its benefits. But this career isn't really a 9 to 5 thing.
No, no, it really isn't. I mean, it's especially if you're indie. If you're indie, it's pretty much make or break for with every project that you put out.
Right.
And depending on the success of your project, then you can continue on pursuing more work, unless someone in the big two like Marvel or DC they notice you and then they can hire you for full-time work or for work for hire.
For
Which
sure.
is that something you're looking forward to? Is that one of your goals as a artist is to get to that level, get to a Marvel or DC gig, or not even a Marvel or DC, but maybe a Dark Horse or other like indie publishers like Image?
Listen, man. At this point, like if anyone would be interested in hiring me for drawing comics, like yeah, of course. I'm not gonna be
Mm,
stingy about the type of work I get. I do have my own stories I want to tell and my own comics that I would want to work on. Especially stuff I
nice.
started in like grad school and everything. That's definitely in the plans, but I just want to be doing this work, um, and as long as the story's good and I'm happy with the people I'm working with, like there's nothing really for me to complain about.
Nice. Those in the chat, feel free to share your thoughts about what prompted you to want to pursue comics or pursue your art
Well, what about you,
ventures.
man?
Me, I was a comic book nerd, man. Growing up, I, I was a huge Superman fan. Superman was my jam as a kid
Okay,
because I just loved heroism. You know, Star Wars. I was all about Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is one of my favorite fictional characters in cinema.
nice.
Anything that involves heroism, I was all about. So Die Hard, the Schwarzenegger movies, Sylvester Stallone. I grew up on all that. And when I was about 12, no 11, my cousin brought the first issue of Spawn to my house.
Ah, cool.
And I remember looking at the book going, what is this? Is this a coloring book? Is this because I didn't know what comic books were at the time. And he was like, no, 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 this is a comic book. And I was like, what's a comic book? And I was like, and he was like, yeah, Superman. He's like, yeah, that's a comic book. That came from a comic book. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
interesting. And I was looking at the page and I was like, someone drew this? He's like, yeah.
Yep. I had the same
Yeah,
phenomenon.
and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I was really impressed with Tom McFarlane's work. I mean, obviously, like he's like the guy. You want to draw comics. That's the guy you study. That's one of the guys you study anyway.
Sure.
And so I remember thinking like, wow, this is really cool. Like, can you buy these at the store? And I remember my cousin was like, well, no, not really. You have to go to like a special store that sells these. And that was it. That was the last I, knew about it. And then when I was 12, my dad had taken us and my siblings to the mall for back to school shopping, and we drove by a comic book store because I saw the poster of Superman and Batman, on the outside walls, the windows, I should say. And I was like, oh, that's a comic book store. That must be one of those comic book stores my cousin told me about. And so I made a mental note of it, and then did my chores and gained some money, doing chores, and I took the bus to the mall and I walked into the store, and after that, man, that was it. I was hooked. I walked in, saw all sorts of posters, toys, bins and bins of comic books, back issues, the wall full of new issues, and like literally like a candy like a kid in a candy store. I didn't know where to start. And I was like, what? Oh my God, I don't know where to, and 12 years old, you can just imagine. I was already a highly imaginative kid growing up. I just come up with these like grand stories in my head, because I used to walk to school every day, and the walks would be half-hour walks for me. And so as I walked to school, I would just come up with stories in my head. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like some guy, like I would walk by, like for instance, I would walk by an apartment complex and I would see someone in their kitchen through the window, and I'd be like, wow, it would be kind of cool if someone like dove through the window to escape something, And I would come up with these stories like, and then oh, he was escaping because they were trying to kill him or whatever, So I was already there. So when I got to the comic book store and I started seeing, the Superman comic books, the Spider-Man comic books, and Batman, and all, like Pitt was the one where I was like, whoa, what is this? Like Dale Keown work immediately hooked me when I saw, I think it was a Pitt versus Hulk crossover poster that they had on their wall.
He is
and I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing. And of course I spoke to the person who worked there. I asked him, would you recommend? And he recommended me a few Image books, but of course I went for the Superman book. And that's it, man. I started buying Superman comics. I started buying Spider-Man comics. I started buying Batman comics. And I wish to this day I kick myself in the ass every day for not keeping those issues. Because, throughout the years I would lose them or lend them out, man. or lose them through, moving to different places. And so from then on, 12 to all through high school, I was secretly a comic book nerd because I grew up in kind of a not so good area, a very kind of, I don't want to say ghetto, but kind of on the verge of ghetto. There was like, it was middle lower class right there at the line. So if someone caught you reading comics, A, they'll clown on you, mercilessly clown on you.
Yeah.
And then B, you were a nerd and you were a target for bullying and harassment by the cholos, the gangster, the cholos who went to the school that I went to. So I would keep it secret. I would keep it in my backpack, and then during lunch I would go to a corner and like find a spot and read them, and then hang out with my friends afterwards so I could just finish the book, Or I would just wait until I got home and then read my books at home. And my friends didn't know I was a comic book reader until I was maybe 19, when they were like, "You read comic books?"
Damn, really?
I was like, yeah. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's Latino culture. That macho Latino culture is no joke. And I'm sure you're Italian, so maybe you've come across the bro Italian culture. Like, will you read that, bro?
Yeah, a little bit of that. A little bit,
yeah. Well, I was right in the middle of that, so I couldn't really showcase that to my friends or to acquaintances. I kept the secret. And it wasn't until I was 18, 19 where I was like, I finally, I guess you could say I was no longer ashamed of it. I was like, I'm a man now. When you turn 18, you're like, I'm a man now. I don't have to worry about
that shit no more.
So yeah, so I started like, I read comic books. So what? And they're like, oh, and of course, at that point, you're like, well, that's pretty cool, bro.
yeah, exactly. Because everybody's growing up.
Yeah, because then then I showed them my long boxes of just full of comics, and they're like, wow, dude, I had no idea, like you read comics, like, oh crap.
No, yeah, see, they accepted you.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, at that point, the relationship, the friendship had already solidified, and you know, that was it was already good. But it wasn't until maybe I was 19 when I read V for Vendetta by
Nice.
Alan Moore and David Lloyd that changed me. That book literally transformed me
Really?
into, yeah, oh yeah, dude. That was the first time I read a comic book that really struck me, you know, because again, like I was saying early before, it was just Marvel, DC, you know. As I got older, I started reading obviously Marvel books too. So I started reading Captain America, I started reading Avengers, I started reading X-Men, Wolverine
Right.
specifically, and of course it was cool. But after a while, I started noticing, hey, they're kind of rehashing these stories. You know, they're kind of just, you know, the new Marvel line, the what was that called? Ultimate Marvel, I think. The Ultimate Marvel Universe had
Yeah.
just launched, and Mark Millar had already joined in and started writing Ultimate X-Men, and Brian Michael Bendis started writing Ultimate Spider-Man, and then it that kind of blew up, and I bought a lot of those books. Those books are pretty great. But then when they got them into the mainstream stuff, that's when I realized, hey, they're just kind of rehashing what they've already written. What's in that, and it kind of like the jig was up for me.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And so I started looking elsewhere, and that's when I found V for Vendetta. And yeah, it transformed me in many ways. In a lot of ways, mainly it showed me that comics weren't only just for superheroes. That's what V for
Yeah.
Vendetta did.
I
You
think
know,
that's kind of the coolest thing to realize.
yeah, yeah. That's when I was like, oh, it's not just for superheroes. It's not just for Superman and Batman and Avengers and Wolverine. It's for like actual mature themed books, like stories too.
Yeah, I don't
That
have to draw tights. Yay.
exactly. You could write a story that's unique and compelling in its own right. Because you know, the character V became one of my favorite comic book characters after reading V for Vendetta, and Alan Moore was so masterful at writing fully fleshed out characters. They felt real. They felt like you knew them,
Right,
which
right.
I found, like, I was like, wow, you could do that too. Like, that's amazing.
It's mesmerizing.
Mesmerizing, exactly. And that's not knocking the writers or the artists who wrote for Marvel or DC, because they did some great work too.
Of
You know,
course.
Mark Waid was great. He's one of my favorite writers for superhero comics. Mark Waid, Mark Millar, um, who was the other one? Brian Michael Bendis was another one. Peter David was another one that I liked. Kurt
Of course.
Busiek. Um, I also like Dan Jurgens. His run on Superman was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Great illustrators
yeah,
too.
and then of course, artist wise, I love the not
Kubrick
Kubrick. I
brothers?
was going to say, what'd you call them?
The Kubrick brothers?
Is that they're called Kubrick?
Kubert. Kubert.
Kubert. There you go, Kubert. The Kubert brothers. Yeah, I was like, it's not Kubrick. I know that.
No, 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 not
Yeah.
Kubert.
No, yeah, the Kubert brothers were one of my favorite comic book artists, man. Like, they just, like, anything that they drew, I picked up. I didn't care who wrote it, because of their artwork was just so good that I knew it was going to be great.
They're still killing it. It's
They're
crazy.
still killing it. Yeah, I'm sure they still are. But at that time when they were drawing the Ultimate, X-Men books, they were like on a whole different level at that
Oh,
point. But I'm
forget
sure
it.
they're a whole different level now. But yeah, that was the book, man. That was the book that changed me and made me realize, you know what? I want to do this. I want to write comic books. If this guy from England can do it, from a small town in England, you know, like me, came from a working class family, not too rich, and at the verge of middle class and lower class.
Right.
And if he was able to write this grand work like V for Vendetta, then I could do it too.
Hell yeah,
And
man.
that's what I pursued. That's when I started pursuing it wholeheartedly at 18. I wasn't good at it until I maybe in my 30s,
Sure, yeah.
because I had some personal stuff that occurred throughout my 20s that stopped me from that, not stopped me, but I guess slowed me down in terms of developing my writing style. learning the writing techniques. I had to drop out of school. A lot of dark crap occurred during my 20s.
Life, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of life, and thankfully, I was able to survive it, and here I am. Here I am, still pushing, still going for it. And look, we're close. We're close.
Very close.
Yeah, very close. Let me just to show you guys, like, this was like when I say this was the dream, I mean it. This was like the dream, and here we
What?
are,
I
Vision
can't
and
see.
Fury.
Oh.
Here we are, Vision and Fury.
Hell yeah, man. It's
Vision Production says, I fell in love with the construction of superhero archetypes when I read Watchmen. Oh, deconstruction. I gotcha. Yeah, dude, Watchmen was another book that was like, whoa. Like, you could do this with comics? This is crazy.
Yeah, for me, that was, I think it was a lot of early Frank Miller stuff. So for me, even though it was superhero, like the way he wrote Man Without Fear, I really love that book.
Oh man, yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, obviously. Yeah. And also too, like Long Halloween and Dark Victory are two of my favorites.
Oh, nice. So that's Jeff Loeb, right? Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. God rest his soul.
I know. I mean, talk about influences. He is that's my number one, man. That's my all time. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, those are some of my favorite stories and the ones that really like. And you know what's crazy? Like, this is all stuff that just comes with, you know, growing up and maturity. But when I first saw his work, like someone like a Tim Sale or even Eduardo Risso, who are two like my all-time favorites now. But when I first saw them when I was younger, I wasn't able to recognize that sometimes simplicity is the hardest thing to do. So when I didn't see like a lot of cross hatching or a lot of crazy marks, when I saw just like, not just, but when I saw, you know, clean lines and a lot of black, and I was like, oh, well, that doesn't seem that hard, you know, like a little asshole.
Yeah.
But then you start to learn. Then you start to learn all about it, and you realize how difficult it is, and then you come to a point where you're able to analyze what goes into it. And then I looked at it again as an adult, and I was like, "Oh no, this is the shit!" Like this is.
Oh, totally, dude, totally
amazing.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's how I felt about Jack Kirby, to be honest. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, man, I could see that. I
was like you're talking about, you know, being a little asshole about Rizzo's artwork. I was a little asshole towards Jack Kirby's work in when I was younger. I was like, this is it. This is what everyone's like praising and saying, that, oh my God, Jack Kirby is such a king. You know, I remember thinking like, this isn't that great. You know,
and you know what, man? You're not the first person I've heard say that.
Right. It wasn't until I got older where I realized, oh, dude, this guy was a genius.
Yeah. And
this guy truly was a genius.
Especially after you find out the speed that he works at, or he used to work at. It's maddening.
And how easy it came to him as he got older, and he obviously he mastered his craft.
Right.
But yeah, now I appreciate Jack Kirby's style, because he really was the one to start it all. He's the one that created the what comics are today, the dynamic poses, the crazy, you know, like for instance, without Kirby, you wouldn't have Rob Liefeld, you wouldn't have had Tom McFarlane, because Jack Kirby was like the first to be like, hey, I'm, you know, instead of drawing like, you know, proportion, I'm gonna draw the hand real big, you know, kind of like when as in the closer to the camera lens, you know, quote unquote. And now I see, okay, not only that, but he also had great sequential timing, like his pacing of the sequentials that he drew during his years in Marvel and also in DC were just impeccable. Like you could easily follow it and not have any problems following his sequentials.
For sure.
Which is why now I could definitely respect him as the king of comics. Vengeance Production says Frank Miller is definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I'm heavily inspired by him when it comes to Murray.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I think we have to I think all writers and artists are a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Vengeance Productions.
Yeah.
I think you
But
have
yeah,
to be a
man,
little bit.
those earlier books of his were the writing, even when it was like kind of dense.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate the time. Like I always remember reading Man Without Fear because you can just tell, even if you had no idea who Frank Miller was, if you read that book, you would go, "Oh, this dude's from New York." Like the way he
Right.
describes the city and the way he describes it as an environment and as a character, and the way that it affects the actual characters in the book, like the humans,
Right.
it was so good, and it was so charming. And I think like that's the kind of stuff I really like. Like I'm not big on dialogue in my comics. I would much rather read a like almost like I'm reading a novel but with pictures kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Like
absolutely. Absolutely.
some
And that's the reason why I uh liked your work when I saw it, because you were able to tell a story through your art, which is what's going to be important for the story.
well,
And and just in general, that's what I like.
that's how I trained, man. I mean, we had one assignment in grad school to do a short story with no words, and I fell in love. And for probably a year and a half, 2 years, like every time I got the opportunity to do a comic assignment, I didn't put words in it, and it became a thing, and that's kind of how I kept operating, and I love doing it.
Yeah, that's I think most comic books should do that. They should rely heavily on the art to tell the story, show instead of tell, I should say.
Yeah, for sure.
And the dialogue or the narration should be extra. Should be
Right.
just to provide a little bit of information and not disrupt the flow of the experience. And yeah, that's the one thing. I know a lot of people complain about Alan Moore's work because of his constant just it's like long
Yeah,
narration boxes, but he was so good at it that you
I
just
know.
didn't care. You
I
didn't
know.
care that he wrote so much because he was just so good at writing dialogue and narration. And that's always been my line, not my line, but my goal is to reach to that level where not obviously overwrite, but just write enough where you get the impact that you're looking for when you read it. And on top of that, you get the, like you're seeing here on the screen, for those of you watching, the facial expressions of the characters. You know, when you're reading juxtaposed with the dialogue. Well, in this page specifically, there is a dialogue here
Hmm.
where Angela is reassuring this young victim who is in the same situation as her, and captured in this container ship, and reassuring her that she's going to do her best to get them to safety, but she ain't promising them that she's going to do it. She's just promising her best, which is, I think, if that's the best you can do, and all, for lack of a better word, when you're in a situation like this, where it's once one's minor slip up and it's over, you know
Okay.
but
But
yeah,
even
that's
on
that.
a less what am I trying to say? Even on a lesser scale than what's going on in this story, that's kind of all anyone can do ever, and that's kind of the beauty of telling these stories.
Yeah,
You get to remind people of that.
exactly. So you're with I guess what I want to reassure potential backers, again, for those of you who have already backed this, thank you. We appreciate your support, and we hope that you spread the word as well to let other people know about this project, because we you're dealing with two creators who are serious about their craft. We're learned men of sorts.
Hmm.
I've been reading comics since I was 12, and I fell in love with the medium since 12 years old. So it's not that I want one day decide to write comics. I do this because I love the medium. The medium, I feel, is the best approach to storytelling for me. And I'm a fictional writer as well. Like, I write short stories. I've written a novel, but for whatever reason, just comic books is just a a medium that I that's my preferred choice, because there's so much you could do with this medium that you can't do with film or TV. And again, not a knock on filmmakers or TV film makers as well. There's a lot of
Mhm.
stuff that TV and film can do that comics can't, obviously.
That's
So
actually where I learn a lot from.
yeah,
From my
exactly,
side of it.
exactly. And same here, same here. I studied film in college, and I wanted to be a filmmaker myself at one point. But like I mentioned earlier, things occurred in my life at that time where I had to drop out of school and I couldn't really pursue that, even though I was ready for it, and I love filmmaking. But comics is just something different about comics. And if you could find yourself a great artist who can draw the kind of stuff that you're seeing on the screen now, and you have a capable writer, dedicated writer, who cares about entertaining the reader, and not only entertaining the reader, but also making them feel something, also making them think as well. Comic books are just a whole different beast that are great. You can't really do it with any other medium, personally.
Well said.
Thank you. So yeah, that's pretty much my story, man. I've been consuming, entertainment for a lot of years. I studied philosophy for a while there.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I made the worst situation. When I was put in the bad situation, I try to get something good out of it.
Right.
So without going into too many details, I was, I struggled with depression for a few years, and comics, and believe it or not, philosophy saved me.
Oh yeah, man.
In a lot of ways. Because I studied Plato, I studied Aristotle, and then I started looking into some of the Eastern philosophical thinkers like Rumi, Confucius, and Lao Tse. I read, and studied The Art of War, which is I highly recommend everyone read that book, because it's really helpful. It really kind of helped me, not so much to become a military general or anything, but more so of like approaching life in the same manner of like, there's one rule where he says, in order for you to defeat your enemy, you must know yourself and you must know your enemy. But most importantly, you must know yourself first.
Right.
And that was really profound when I first, learned that. And so what you're getting here in Vigilant Fury, and also what you got for Ghetto Dragon, when I published that one, was a little bit of the philosophical, learnings that I was taught when I learned it. So you're gonna get the same thing here, because this story is about this, soul who decides not to give in. She's in the fight, because the thing about natural law is that when you're met with violence, you're supposed to fight violence. People always think that you're supposed to fight violence with violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, the reality of that is that you're supposed to fight violence with force, because force is defensive. Force, you're just defending yourself at that point from the violence.
Interesting.
And that was my approach here. My approach here for this story was, and also for the Ghetto Dragon, was she's met with violence, she's taken violently, and she retaliates with force. In other words, she's just defending herself. She's not vengeful in the sense of like, I want to kill every single person who took me or whatever, right? It was more of a, no, I have to do this, because if I don't, they're going to get me first.
Right.
And that's what that is. That's why, defense against violence is important. It happens in, like, for instance, growing up in school, my dad taught me, don't go looking for trouble, but when trouble comes looking for you, then defend yourself.
Dude, my dad said the same thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
He would always say, he goes, listen, he goes, I don't care if you're bullied. He's like, the best way to deal with bully, and this is, almost 30 years ago, but he would say, if you're getting bullied, don't do anything. He said the best way to react against the bully is to not react. He goes, that's what they want. They want you to react. That's what they're looking for. So either ignore them or invite them over for dinner and show them what a good household looks like.
Yeah.
And he
That's
said,
good advice.
and he said, I don't ever want you starting a fight. I better never hear you starting a fight. But if someone starts it with you, you better fucking finish it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. Same here. Same here. He's like, don't go looking for trouble, but if it comes looking for you, then go for it. You know, if you get in trouble at school, don't worry. I won't get mad at you. But if I find out you were the one who started, then you're gonna then you'll get it.
Then that's it.
But if I find out you were just defending yourself, then it's all right. You know, it's natural to defend yourself.
Right.
You know, because if you're minding your own business and trying to live your life as peaceful as possible, and someone comes along to disrupt that or attempt to disrupt that for whatever reason, then then that person's crossed the line because you're just minding your business.
Yep.
And the more likely when they find out that you defend yourself, the chances of them doing it again are gonna grow slim because they're gonna realize, oh yeah, this guy won't. It's not a pushover. He'll fight back, and I don't want to have someone fight back. But yeah, going back to the comic book stuff, that's essentially what we're doing here for Vigilant Fury. It's a story about a woman who just fights back and just she just wants to. She was minding her own business and she was violently taken, and now she has to face it with force, fight back with force.
So bottom line is, it is a lightsaber.
There you go. There you go. Bottom line, ID Crisis.
Using the force.
It is a lightsaber. The Jedi way, man. The Jedi way is all about using defense, not offense. So I think that's pretty much covers most of what we talked about today. Wanna call it in a few minutes? Be on here for an hour, close to an hour and a half.
Yeah. I'm not gonna finish this tonight, but
no, that's fine. That's fine. It's cool. I always like watching artists draw during live streams as they're discussing topics and what have you. So it's all good.
I'll try to finish at least the first panel fully.
Let's see here. Visions Production said Oceans as a writer or number one goal is to invoke and pull out emotions in our writers, good ones or bad ones. I really didn't understand that last part there, Vengeance. But yeah, you're right. A writer's number one goal is to invoke and pull out emotions. That's for sure. And if you can't do that as a writer, then you need to do a lot of work as a writer. So it's that's what my approach is to writing as well. I want to invoke emotions. I want readers to feel as well. I want them to feel angry. I want them to feel sad. I want them to feel happy. And if I could do that, then I've done my job as a writer and writing a solid story. But what are you watching right now, man? Are you watching anything interesting at the moment? Any documentaries, any TV shows, or?
Honestly, man,
recommend?
Not a whole lot. I don't really watch too much anymore. We did watch Stranger Things. I really liked it.
Oh, how was that? How'd you like that?
I really, really liked this 4th season. I'm really excited for the second part that's coming out in a couple of weeks now.
Were you a fan of the previous season? Because I heard a lot of people didn't like that previous season.
I loved it. I loved season 3. So season 1, like the first season, I think everybody loved it. It was great.
That was solid, man. What a solid season that was.
Especially the surprise factor kind of blew it away.
It was fresh. It was new. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know anything about the upside down world or any of that stuff, and it was great. That was great stuff.
Yeah, and then season 2 was like, it was fine. I was kind of underwhelmed. Season 3, I really liked. I really liked that one. And then this one just kind of took a whole new direction that I didn't really know what to expect for this season at all. Especially that it had been like 4 years.
Yeah, it's 4 years. Yeah,
already. It's pretty crazy. And I absolutely loved it.
Nice.
Yeah, but other than that, I couldn't tell you the last thing I saw. Maybe the Northman was the last movie I saw.
All right, right. Did you like that?
So I saw it twice, and when I first saw it, I was with people, and I didn't really like it. Um, we both like missed a lot of stuff. It was kind of hard to hear some things.
Hmm.
So, I was a little confused, but then I saw it again, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I like this. It's pretty dope. But I think the thing that kind of influenced me a little bit was I had watched a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and that was really dope to see because they like basically created a Norse museum for this movie. And I always appreciate that more when I see how much work is put into it, especially if they're like,
Yeah.
if it's an actual film, it's not just CGI, you know?
Also, they use practical effects for this movie.
Dude, look up some of the behind the scenes stuff on YouTube. I mean,
dude, nice. I didn't even know that.
Oh my God, everything, like literally everything was built for the movie.
Oh, nice, dude. That's
there
cool.
there was just a split second of the behind the scenes stuff where there was a makeup artist with a brush just going like this, brushing one of the actor's sleeves, just right here, just rubbing like dirt or blood on it that you wouldn't even see, but it just they went all out for that.
Nice.
That recreation.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
they
cool.
built and sculpted even like the carved. They had almost like totem poles in the movie.
Yeah.
They built all that from scratch. All the weapons were researched and everything, so they were historically accurate as close as possible.
Right, of course.
It was cool, man.
That's amazing. I seriously thought I didn't know they use practical effects. It's always great to find out when studios kind of take the risk and go to the practical effect route, and because that's what made movies great when I was a kid. It was the CGI is great too. I'm not complaining about the CGI that's used today if it's done well. Like for instance, Forrest Gump was mostly CGI.
What?
And
was?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's mostly CGI.
No idea.
And but it worked. It worked for me because of how well done the director Robert Zemeckis, approached it when he used CGI. He used it wisely,
right,
to benefit the film. But yeah, that's great when I hear about that stuff. I definitely am not going to check it out just because for that reason alone, because I thought it was going to be like a CGI heavy movie. But now that you tell me it's practical, then that's even better for me.
Yeah, initially I was a little bit like, they kind of like, we couldn't figure out what kind of movie they wanted to be, storytelling wise.
Mm-hmm.
But then, after the second time I saw it and I really paid attention, I was like, oh, okay, it makes more sense now.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, myself, I've been watching Stranger Things. Also been watching The Boys on Amazon.
How is that?
It's fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. I love The Boys. I love the comic. So when Amazon got the rights to produce the show, I was excited about it, but at the same time I was a little nervous because I was afraid they were going to change a lot. But nah, man, they stayed true to the spirit of The Boys.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Even though they changed a lot, took the liberties on a lot of stuff, they still kept the spirit of The Boys alive in the show, and I dig it. And this season has been bonkers, man, like absolutely bonkers.
It looks like a bonkers show.
Yeah, dude, it is, man. It is. Have you seen any of the seasons or no?
I've seen the first like 2 episodes, maybe.
Of the first season?
Yeah.
It I don't know. Maybe the ultra violent, the uber violence might be. I don't know if you're into that or don't care.
Oh no, I don't care.
Okay, yeah, it's very violent, but it's funny though at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen the first couple episodes. But when that chick's arms, like she just gets detached from her arms, I was like, oh,
I know.
This is the kind of show it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They kept the spirit of the comic book alive. That's exactly. It felt like a Garth Ennis. Like they brought Garth Ennis's like vision, his approach to comics and put it on the screen, which I thought was was a nice gesture of kind of paying tribute to him, because I mean, without Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, what was it? Derek Robertson who drew the book?
I believe so.
Yeah, without those two, you wouldn't have the show, because those two really brought something special to to that book.
Yeah, man. I mean, they have to do it right.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, what other comic book show have they done right? And I saw the first couple seasons of Preacher, and I liked that. It was a little bit different than the book, but
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I thought they did all right. And I never read the comic Happy, but the show I friggin' loved.
Yeah, I heard that was the same thing, where they really stayed true to the comic book.
It was so funny. Like, oh man. And again, I never read the book, but
Right.
I thought the show was hilarious.
Also, I thought the Invincible was great, even though it was animated.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Same
still
thing
thought it
there,
was
though.
fantastic. What a fantastic show! I can't wait for the second season of that one to come out.
Me neither. But again, haven't read it, but I love the show.
Yeah, I remember reading a few issues of Invincible, and I thought it was cool. It was unique, and Robert Kirkman was definitely a special talent that
Yeah, he does
I
all
knew.
right.
Like, yeah, this guy's going to play. He's going to be big. This is before Walking Dead when it came out. But when I read Invincible, those first few issues, I was like, yeah, this guy's going places, man. He's just way too good. Like, for him just to do this one book, and of course, Walking Dead blew up, and now he's a big time. He's a big time hitter. For I forgot the name of his imprint. Skybound
Skybound?
Comics.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
his? I didn't
Skybound.
even know that was his.
Yeah, that's his, man. That's
cool.
Skybound came from the Walking Dead money, and now it's a full blown production company in charge of producing comic book IPs and selling them and making shows out of them. So like I said, I knew it from the get go. I was like, yeah, this guy is definitely going to go places for sure. So I wasn't surprised when he got the success from Walking Dead, because Walking Dead was a whole different cool approach to the zombie genre. It was unique and different. But yeah, that's where we want to be, guys. We want to get to that level. We want to get to the level of producing more and more comics for you guys. And if you help us make Vigilant Fury a success, spread the word and let people know about it, and we'll produce more stuff. Gambino will produce more stuff. He has his own stories he wants to produce, and I'll look forward to those, because I'm curious to see what he has in store for his own personal stories. And I have a whole bunch of stories in the works for you guys as well. But we won't be able to get there unless we find some success with this campaign, and show the world, show the readers that we have what it takes to compete with the John Malins, to compete with the Ethan Van Skyvers and the others who have successfully funded and produced their comic books. We definitely can be at that level, and I'm confident that we can get there. But with your help, help us get to that point, so that way we could show our guns and let the world know that we can do it. We can also be there too.
I think we have one of the most affordable goals.
Oh yeah, dude. I was in the stream on Wednesday, real quick, on the stream, because of the I really couldn't be on there for the whole thing. I only hopped in for like a few minutes and I had to hop back out.
Uh-huh.
But as I was explaining to him, I was going down through the perks. one of the hosts was like, "Hey, are you sure you're gonna make any money with all these low prices?" And I was like, "If enough people back it, yeah. If enough people back it, we'll definitely be able to make some money. But it just depends on how if people back it." So, and I was like, "You see, even you say that these prices are low, so that could be a factor for you guys if you're hesitant to back it. You'll get the best bang for your buck."
Don't be hesitant.
Vigilant Fury.
Do not be hesitant.
Do not hesitate. Exactly. And spread the word to you guys. The ones who have already backed it, we appreciate it. But I think with that said, I think you wanna call it? I know I know it might be late over there where you're at. It's close to 9 where you're at, or 10.
I have no idea. What time is it by you?
7.
Yeah, so it's 10.
Yeah, so it's late over there where you're at. So thank you guys who for joining us. Vengeance Productions, thank you for being here. ID Crisis and Joel Ball, thank you for stopping by and listening to two guys who are dedicated and ready and eager and hungry to make this happen. Join us again. We'll probably do this more often as the campaign winds down. So just make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and tell your friends about the channel. Tell your friends about Gambino Studio. You can find him on Twitter,
Yes.
and you can find him on Instagram as well at the same handle at Gambino Studio.
Same exact handle.
Thank you, Joe, again for being here and listening to us talk shop.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
And you can find me at Elucid Comic on Twitter, and on Instagram you can find me at Elucid PRD, not comic, because I couldn't. I guess someone else already had that name. So Elucid PRD on Instagram and Elucid Comic on Twitter. Follow me there for updates or any news that may come about. And yeah, guys, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Peace.